Well, I'll introduce myself. My name is James Branum, and I'm a civilian defense attorney, meaning I don't work for the military. I work for individual soldiers that need help. There are people in the military too. The military provides JAG defense lawyers that also do defense work, but they're paid for by the military. They work for the military. A lot of them are good men and women. Some of them aren't. But I'm someone who's not part of the military in any way, shape, or form. In fact, I'm directly opposed to the military. Don't believe in it. Don't support it. Support the individual troops. Think the world of them, but I don't support the institution. So anyway, I'm going to say that as a kind of a preface. And at the point we're talking right now, this is very early on in the process. So I'm going to be a little bit vague in some points because I have to be at this point in the trial. But what's happening in Robin's case, Robin Long was an American soldier. And when he was recruited to join the military, his recruiter and him were talking, and Robin told the recruiter, said, I'm okay with being in the Army, but I don't want to go to Iraq. I don't believe in it. The recruiter said, don't worry about it. You won't have to go to Iraq. I can make sure you won't. In fact, you'll be stationed at Fort Knox here in Kentucky. So Robin thought, okay, I can live with that. So he did that. He joined. Turned out the recruiter was honest at one point. Yes, he was stationed at Fort Knox for a while. However, very quickly he was told, yes, you're going to Iraq, and you're going to be sent to Fort Carson to train to go to Iraq, and then after that you're going to be sent there. So Robin, what he ended up doing was he ended up going to Canada. And there's a lot there that I can't go into about his story, but to make a real long story short, it was an issue of conscience at the end of the day. He had to do what he felt was right. He couldn't do something that wasn't right, and he couldn't go. That's what it comes down to. So when he got to Canada, he was living his life. He applied for asylum status so he could stay there, and he was working. And as an asylum seeker, he was able to get a work permit and whatnot. He also had a son while he was there, who's now about 2 years old. And he had his life very well established. He did a lot of different jobs, all kinds of random stuff. For a while, he was a fruit picker. He worked in different orchards, and in fact, that's kind of what got him in trouble. Because when he was working as a fruit picker, he was a seasonal migrant worker, you know. And so he was for a while out in British Columbia, and he was previously in Ontario, and there was a misunderstanding about from Canadian immigration where he was supposed to check into. And Robin thought he had checked in like he was supposed to. The immigration authorities say he didn't. There's a misunderstanding there. But to make a really long story short, even though Robin was fighting this in the Canadian courts, the Canadian officials pulled a sneaky maneuver, and basically they were able to fast-track him for deportation within 4 days so that he or his lawyer could not respond appropriately in the Canadian legal system. And so he was trapped, and he was sent to the U.S. And what happened was he was held in jail for a few days in Canada, and then he was handed over to the U.S. officials at the border. And it was actually the Canadian officials even told the American officials, here's your deserter, handed him off. And so from there, the immigration officials transferred him to a local jail, and he was held actually in 2 different local jails for a while before the military came and picked him up and transported him to Fort Carson, Colorado. And at that point, at 11:30 at night, they had a hearing to decide whether he would remain in what is called pretrial confinement. Because in the military, you don't get bail. Basically, you either are released before your trial, or you wait in pretrial confinement. So they had a hearing late at night. Robin was put into jail, and since that point, he has been held here in Colorado Springs in the Criminal Justice Center in Paso County, basically just a regular old county jail with all kinds of people, dangerous criminals, many of them, and it's a difficult place to be, but Robin's in good spirits, and we're now dealing with the consequences of his action in the military courts here.